The 2024 release horror thriller flick, which is more kind of a psychological thriller, that is the Caddo Lake. The movie we are introduced to the character of the Paris, which is played by the actor that is the Daniel, and this is one of the main kind of a male protagonist guy we see in this film. And second is the character of the Ellie. So Ellie is here kind of a female protagonist, and we are introduced to her uh, different kinds of family members, and she is not kind of happy with them, just struggling day-to-day conversation with her family members. We are also introduced to her sister, that is Anna, and her mother Celeste. So now we see that Ellie really storms out of the house after she is accuses mother of favoring just her younger sibling, that is Anna, and disregarding her feelings. So this is the general thing that happens in the families nowadays. Anna, trying to keep the peace, kind of follows her into the kind of sister into the woods, but is drawn towards a haunting foggy creek. As the sister separates, Ellie hears a faint splash, but sees no signs of Anna, and she just turns back. So now the scene really shifts to the eerie underwater kind of a very irregular shot, suggesting that Anna may be pulled into a kind of a rift or a temporal shift beneath the lake. And meanwhile, we see the Paris introduction in 2003 showing him fishing alone, distracted by a newspaper article that was just hinting at a mysterious disappearance tied to the lake. And as he inches deeper into the woods, a sudden mist kind of engulfs him, transporting him to the 2002, disoriented and unaware of his kind of danger that is to be present or coming ahead towards him. So this is kind of acting a portal or a way between the two realities, kind of a timeline. So that's why the name Caddo Lake really just kind of says the theme of the movie. And Ellie's investigation just intensifies as she revisits the Herd Creek, noticing the kind of strange and concentric ripples on the water's surface. Despite the absence of wind, her discovery of Anna's life jacket snagged on a branch and sparked a different sense of kind of a dread and fearfulness among them. Simultaneously, Paris encounters a bleeding and semi-conscious Anna in 2003, and her front tooth mysteriously intact, though it was missing back in 2022. So detail hints at the temporal anomalies caused by the creek's portal, and as Paris tried to help Anna, they are enveloped by another kind of mist or fog that is transported back them to 1952. So the scene really emphasizes the kind of growing threat as Ellie starts hearing echoes or the voices of Anna and from the woods right there, and further drawing her towards the lake's supernatural pull or the supernatural thrust or the power it has. So now Ellie is just determined to understand the creek secrets and ventures into the portal herself. And she is transported to 2005, and now she really stumbles upon her childhood home, and where she sees her mother and just holding a baby, and that baby is nothing but that baby is herself, that is her younger self. And the surreal encounter just shakes Ellie, forcing her to process the implications of the portal and her role in this timeline that is present now. And exploring further, now Ellie finds Anna's necklace inside a park card, confirming that Anna had lived in this timeline after just vanishing. So the emotional weight grows as Ellie just realizes that the portal doesn't just move people, but it kind of alters the course of their life if they are into this timeline. So it just manages to break it off and create one. So it have many kind of parallel consequences at the same time. And the portal effect is just visually highlighted by flickering light patterns and a kind of low resonant hum sound, emphasizing its overworldly nature. Now the Paris presence in 2022 create a kind of a havoc and a very unreliable situation in a way of suspicion, where the authorities just questions him that how he obtains Anna's body. So that is the main questions right now, and now he's linked to her disappearance, and his inability to explain his time travel situation just put him in a kind of very kind of a dangerous and vulnerable position, and he just arrested as a kind of a potential suspect, or maybe he's the one who kidnapped Anna. And now while in custody, just Paris sees a news broadcasting showing that Ellie is searching for Anna, and that kind of triggering a flood of memories about his connection to them. And using its wits, its tactics and strategies, now Paris escapes and head towards the lake, and now desperate to fix the timeline itself. His encounter with his ailing father at a hospital is a kind of a very heartbreaking moment, and where he leaves behind a cryptic note hinting at his sacrifice that he's done for the situation and the whatever the thing is upon him, and the tension really builds as Paris begins to accept the futility of his struggle, but he really presses forward for Ellie's and Anna's sake. Now Paris escapes from custody is fraught with the tension as he uses his knowledge of the lake's geography to evade the authorities themselves, and he navigates the unfamiliar 2022 landscape and seeing modern advancements that deepen his disorientation and remind him of that how much he has lost up to now. While hiding, Paris stumbles upon Ellie's search efforts and recognizing her from fragments of his past, and he now begins to piece together the role that he plays in his timeline. Realizing that Ellie is his daughter and now driven by the revelation itself, now Paris grows desperate to fix the timeline again, and knowing that failure means leaving Ellie and Anna without answers, so kind of very confusing situation, and the emotional weight of the decision just became apparent when he records a message for Ellie explaining his all action, though he doubts that she will even hear it or not. So this is the big confusion. But as Paris races towards the portal again, the film just interviews his desperation with Ellie's journey back to the present and creating a very kind of a tense and parallel situation. And the storm intensifies and the rising floodwaters just threatens to consume the entire area that is present, and symbolizing the time is running out for the both character, that is our Paris as well as Ellie. And now Paris' final moments are marked by a haunting serenity as he accepts his fate, recalling a childhood memory of Anna singing by the lake, and he pushes through the currents, fighting exhaustion, but the dam surge just proved kind of too powerful. Ellie has submerged from the portal moments earlier and watches in horror as Paris just succumbs to the water, and in his final acts Paris just kind of reaches out towards Ellie and he gestures as a kind of a silent goodbye, and it just disappears into the lake now. The portal closes with a kind of a dramatic pulse of light and signaling the end of the lake's supernatural interference and the Paris sacrifice. The ending of the Caddo Lake, that is the 2024, just encapsulates a poignant conclusion that brings together the emotional weight of the film's exploration of the time, sacrifice and family. And after the Paris tragic drowning that we see, his sacrifice just ensures the timeline is restored again and allowing Ellie to return back to 2022, where she finally uncovers the truth about Anna and her families, that is the intertwined tale that is present or the fate of them, and Ellie is left devastated but enlightened, understanding that Paris' actions were just crucial in saving her family, and the closure of the portal symbolizes the kind of a restoration of the balance that across the timeline, which was much needed due to the disturbed nature that it has, because it acts as a kind of a gateway between the different timeline that we have seen in this film. But the price paid is just evident in a form of the Paris death, because the character is no more of Paris. And the final scene with Ellie walking by the lake serves as both a kind of a reflection on the events and a meditation on the enduring mysteries of time, I think. And the lake, which has been a catalyst for all this chaos or whatever the mess that has happened, just returns to calm, and but its lingering power is just hinted at what the subtle ripples, suggesting that its secret may still endure, and it's not over for this time, or maybe this is over for this time and maybe continue for next time any other time. The ending just underscores the theme that the love, sacrifice and memory are kind of timeless, and that is the main motive of the life, even in the face of impossible challenges that we face in our every day-to-day life. And the film just leaves viewer with a very unsettling, comforting sense of resolution, where the future is shaped by the echoes of the past. The Paris death was just necessary to restore the kind of balance needed for, and leaving her with the kind of knowledge of his sacrifice and the power of love that is present all across the time. I think the lake itself is not just a kind of a mere physical location, but it's a kind of a metaphor for time and memory, and its shifting waters just mirror the kind of instability of time travel and the character's fluid connection to the past, present and the future. And the use of water as a kind of portal just highlights the cyclical nature of time and the character's inability to escape their fate. I think this is one of the film's major thematic kind of a layer. The creek, while seemingly a minor location, but really it acts as a kind of epicenter for this timeline disruption, and its role as a portal is not just immediately obvious but is hinted at through kind of a subtle visual cues. and like the ripples on the water and the change in weather pattern, this element just hint at the kind of the what lies behind this creek or this its mystical properties just before the character fully realizes the kind of significance it had. And Paris' journey just back to 2003 and his realization of his connection to Ellie is very fraught with a kind of a hidden detail and their shared moments in time, especially. Paris helps Ellie by guiding her through the woods and suggests a deeper and kind of a almost predestined connection between them, the moments of deja vu that Paris experiences, such as seeing Ellie back in 2022 and just recognizing her from the past, kind of further emphasizes the tone of the movie, the overall of the theme, just kind of interconnects even their fate, even across varied timeline. That is just great about this movie. And the portal is not just a kind of a temporal rift, but also a sentient force that just guide the character towards a certain outcome, because that is what is to be happened, because this is just time travel movie and it just sucks sometimes because we do not get it at the first time when we just watch the movie at the first glance. So the subtle whispers or echoes the characters hear when they were near the creek are particularly Elise and Paris, I think, because they hint that the lake and the portal just possess a kind of intelligence that goes just beyond human perceptions and human comprehensions. And the sense of being watched or kind of guided is a hidden aspect of the story, just that just grips you up, because they really mixes the mystery thriller element with time travel concept really well. That just got blended so well that even I forget at one point of time that I was watching a kind of a thriller movie. It was really good. It was really great, I may say, and just becomes apparent because the character just navigate through the complexities of this time. And one of the highlight of the movie was Anna's necklace, and that necklace that Ellie find back in 2005 is a kind of key object that ties the timeline together, because it is present in multiple years, as I said before. If you can see in 1952 to 2005 and 2022, so it suggests that the Anna's fate is intricately linked to the lake and portal itself, and the necklace symbolic importance grows as Ellie uncovers its connection to her mother and to Paris, offering insight into the cyclical nature of the character's struggle that are present sacrifices and whatever they have done in this timeline, maybe intentionally or not. The film really often uses the visual metaphors or the visual representation to, such as we have mentioned earlier, that is a mist that surrounds the lake, and a kind of shifting shadows in the woods and the shadows that goes around to subtly communicate the passage of the time and causes the instability that it causes sometimes. So this visual element just suggests that time is a living, breathing entity in the world of this film concept or this film script, that is the Caddo Lake, one that can be manipulated but not controlled by the character themselves. So this is all about what I think about this movie, that is the Caddo Lake. It was a really good movie, and it is available on HBO Max, I think, so you can watch it there. It is really great if you need something time travel with kind of you need to less brain to stick around it and kind of a mystery thriller element, so you can go for it. Thank you for watching and subscribe for more by Cinema Shadows.